You know, I would think after Neil Druckmann made a complete jerk of himself to the entire internet and the whole shenanigans with the DMCA abuse and all that, I would think that by that point, I mean, let's be honest, from the get-go, everyone on the team should have known better. But especially by this point, they should know better. But what do we have going on today? A headline from Dixerto. They say, The Last of Us 2 stars blame, quote, bots for negative reviews. Now, people posting stupid stuff on Twitter, sometimes that alone is not enough for me to want to cover it. People that are VAs and working on a relevant project, that's certainly more interesting. Still, at times, not interesting enough, though. What makes it more interesting? Well, those of you who watch some of my videos, this is not the first one, you may have seen videos where I mention people deleting tweets. And that always makes it more interesting to me. Spoiler alert, that's what we have going on here. We're going to take a look at some tweets in this article, and they've since been deleted. Wonder why? Let's take a look at what they say. With The Last of Us Part 2 finally released to the public, fans and critics alike seem to be at odds regarding the game's reception, with polar opposite scores. Now, two major stars of the game, Laura Bailey and Shannon Woodward, are blaming the negativity on bots. I'm going to show you the tweets in this article because they have the screenshots, and then I'm going to take you to Twitter. I'm going to show you that the tweets are deleted. Let's read some more. The Last of Us Part 2 has been receiving universal acclaim from the standard games media, with multiple perfect scores and overwhelming praise, earning it a 95 Metascore. 95 Metascore on Metacritic. And let me just point out, if you didn't see my last segment, IGN Japan, a bastion for integrity that IGN West should take notes from. IGN Japan gave the game a 7 out of 10, and they actually provided very solid reasoning for why. And if anything, when you look at their reasoning, it kind of seems like they might have been just being a little nice with that 7. Anyways, they say overwhelming praise, earning it a 95. However, the same cannot be said for user reviews, where the tone is completely different. The game sits at an abysmal 3.4 rating, with over twice as many negative ratings than positive ones. As I mentioned in the prior segment, I think some people might be rating the game based off what some of the staff had said, like Druckmann, for example. We're talking about that. Or these VAs, for example. Some of that doesn't sit well with people. Is it fair to judge the game and review it based on what some of the staff has done behind the scenes? I don't really have an opinion on that. I think there's merit to saying yes and no. So I just raised that question to people. And I also want to say that, when you see things like this, blaming the negative reviews on bots, that's only going to make people probably want to, leave more negative reviews. So I think maybe there is an argument to say that it is valid to have the game affected by what the staff is saying on Twitter. And for the record, from what I've seen from IGN Japan and people who have played the game, the 9 out of 10 and 10 out of 10 reviews, even if we don't factor in what the staff is saying on social media, really isn't warranted. I mean, some of the people are pointing out big flaws with the game. At the end of the day, if you're enjoying it, that's totally fine. I'm just talking about what I've seen, and I'm not really in the loop, as I've mentioned before. Not really a big fan of The Last of Us. I haven't even played the first one, and yeah, not my cup of tea. Continuing on, we have some discourse. It says, taking to Twitter, Shannon Woodward, who voiced and did the mocap for the character Dina, wrote that there were a lot of very upset bots afoot today, accompanied by the eyes emoji. All the bots, replied Laura Bailey, who voices the game's antagonist Abby in a since deleted tweet. Oh, they mentioned that. And there's a link. Where does that go? It went to a Reddit post. I was hoping it would go to an archived link. Reddit post, 1,200 upvotes says, so apparently we are bots now, ... beep. And this is from the Last of Us 2 subreddit. Wow. Okay, continuing. From there, Woodward further insinuated that bots were responsible for negative reviews of the game by claiming that bot farms were fully activated. Surprised they didn't even talk about Russia, too. Yeah, it's bot farms and all that. Oh, look at this. The talk of bots is likely a reference back to the criticism that faced Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi, which faced a similar situation to The Last of Us Part 2. With The Last Jedi, it was received well by critics, but panned by fans, eventually leading to some blaming the scathing reviews on, oh my god, they actually... No. Russian bots. Oh my gosh. However, there are conflicting opinions on whether that really was the case. Oh my gosh, man. Oh, wow. That's funny. This is the final segment of the article here. It says, it will be interesting to see how the public's opinion on the game changes as more players experience it for themselves and complete the campaign, which should take anywhere from 20 to 40 hours. Yeah, I've heard some people completing it in like 15, though. What's up with that? Until then, The Last of Us Part 2 is looking like it will be one of the most divisive games in history. And let me remind everybody once again that that's largely in part to the moronic people behind the game saying very dumb things all over social media and insulting everybody, and even going after channels, which in my opinion was not warranted, with DMCA abuse. I'm not saying all of it wasn't warranted. I don't know who all they hit, but I saw some examples, and questionable at best is putting it very nicely. Okay, so the article mentioned the tweets being deleted anyways, so maybe it's redundant at this point to show proof, but I'm still going to show proof because I'm that kind of guy. Here's an example. A tweet responding to Shannon Woodward, and you can see that that tweet is no longer available. And the context, well, let's take a look. At some point, you will realize we aren't bots. There you go, talking about bots. Also says, you'll realize that most of us are fans who love the first game and found the pointless sequel absolutely awful, because it really is. But you know, these people don't want to face reality. They don't actually care about the fans, right? I mean, it seems like they don't when they're calling them all bots and brushing away all of the warranted criticism and just dismissing it, calling them bots. I mean, how can you genuinely care about something and then dismiss everything? Doesn't seem like you genuinely care. Seems like you just want praise. Oh, by the way, here's a deleted tweet that was not mentioned in the article. This one says, yes, I had to fill in and do mocap for some scenes in The Last of Us 2. This is standard in business. Even Neil had to fill in for some scenes with me too. What does that mean exactly? I honestly don't know, but I'm going to show you something else now that makes this look kind of weird. It seems she deleted the tweet I just showed you, but then she posted this later on. It says, I can't believe this even needs to be clarified, but at no point in the game did I film any scene with Neil. Wait, what? I mean, what? Everything I did was alongside phenomenally talented and professional actors. Play the game, then give your opinions. And if you still don't like it, that's fine. Love you. Or, you know, you're just going to actually call them all bots, which is kind of what you did. But okay. And for the record, I forget which VA it is, if it's Laura or the other one, Shannon. I think it's Laura. A VA in Ruby for one of my favorite characters, Amber. You know, I'm so over these VAs, man. I don't care if they voice my favorite characters. If you're going to act like a jerk to people, yeah, I'll talk about that. I don't care if you voice Amber. I don't care if you voice Goku, if you voice Vegeta. Now I'm talking about Sabin and Gemmel. I mean, if you guys are jerks, you're jerks. Sorry, but you are not those characters. Even if I like your work, doesn't mean I have to like you as a person. And that's not directed at Laura specifically. That's just a general statement I'm making regarding VAs and, you know, the character and the VA being different and all that sort of thing. Anyways, guys, I could probably come up with some fluff to drag this on to the 10-minute mark, but I'm not going to do that to you guys. That's the story. I don't think there's that much more relevant stuff to go over. I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you did, please just consider liking, sharing, commenting. All that helps greatly. And I will catch you guys next time. Hopefully you have a great rest of your weekend. See you then.